Hey everyone, Chris here with Ignited by Nature, and today is an exciting day. Today is the day that I finish up my compact spotting scope review. This is a comprehensive review, and I'm so sick of spotting scopes. I've been testing these spotting scopes out for 2 years. I bought everything you see here with my own money, besides the Kowa TSN 55S Prominar. Kowa was nice enough to actually send this to me because they believe in their products, and I've had it for about 5 months now. I apologize to Kowa. I said it would only take 3 months, but I've had a newborn and I have a toddler. It's just been hectic, but I am super excited to get into this review. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about some compact spotting scopes. Okay, before I get started here, I just want to talk about a few things. One, you'll notice that I have my MacBook in front of me, and that's because I just have way too many spotting scopes to try to memorize everything. I've used all these for a long time, so I pretty much know everything about them, but I just want to check my math on things like exit pupil, and honestly, just memorizing the little nuances that I try to memorize is kind of ridiculous. But I can tell you that I've used all these out in the field for a long time now, and so I'm going to be able to give you a pretty good idea of what I think is the best, which honestly, there's no contest. These two right here are the best as far as compact spotters go. They don't really compete with anything else, but I understand that people are on budgets and they don't necessarily care about the best glass quality. They just want to actually be able to spot animals or get a closer look. So that's where all these other ones come into play. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that I have a lot in front of me right now. And like I said, I bought all these with my own money. My wife hates me. I'm not going to be keeping all of these. I don't have the money to do that. And honestly, I don't make enough money to be doing things like this. And I probably won't be doing a comprehensive comparison like this again. I bought all these scopes just thinking it was only going to be a couple of months. And it's taken me 2 years now to kind of go through everything and feel confident enough to talk about them. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that a lot of the reviews that you'll see out there, you'll see that companies are putting them out. And you'll notice that they don't have a large selection like this, and that's because they're only showing you the things they sell. So you won't see a Maven in a lot of those reviews because they're direct to consumer. So just keep that in mind. And some of the other options too, you won't see just because they don't sell them or for some reason they're not showing them. But I think it's because they're just showing you the stuff they can make money off of. So just keep that in mind too. Yes, they still provide quality information and they have great stuff to add, but they're also trying to sell you something. So keep that in mind. Another thing that I wanted to bring up too is right here, this section is compact, right? These are all compact spotters. This section over here, these are micro spotters, or I would consider them micro spotters. They're also compact spotters. I think birders typically like these more. They don't have as much magnification, but look at this. This is tiny. I mean, this is what you want if you're backpacking, right? You don't need the best image quality if you're not digiscoping. So I actually really like these little compact spotters. The next thing I want to mention is the fact that compact spotters are not necessarily that much more compact. You save about, 8 to 12 ounces. Like this one definitely feels heavier. This is a 65 millimeter. This is the Athlon 15 to 45 by 65. As you'll see, I wish I had an angled spotting scope to compare it to. I sold my ATC to pay for another review. But if I had the ATC, you would see that there's not a huge difference. But just comparing these two, you can see that there's not a huge difference in size. A lot of people will tend to go with the 65 after doing research because, they want that extra magnification maybe. And, they realize that, whoa, it's not that much more compact and I'm getting a bigger objective lens, which means more light gathering capabilities, which means brighter images at low light. So just things to take into consideration. One thing I will say is that with compact spotters, they're not really meant to be looking out past like 1,500 yards, right? Usually you've already done your pre-scouting and you're taking this with you because you want to save some weight because you're hiking in to where you spotted those animals, right? Or honestly, I use binoculars 90% of the time, and I use a spotting scope to verify or do some digiscoping footage. I'm not looking through these all day, and I know some people do that, but I just don't like doing the one eye thing. I can't stand it. I'll use my BTX at long range, you know, glassing from a road, looking out like 2 miles or something, or just finding high vantage points that are not far away from where I'm parked. But if I'm hiking in somewhere, I'm bringing one of these compact spotters. And specifically, I'm bringing my Swarovski STC. As I mentioned earlier, the top 2 pieces of glass in my compact collection here are the Kowa and the Swaro. They're literally neck and neck as far as everything goes. It's honestly splitting hairs and comes down to personal preference as far as build quality and what you prefer in a overall package, right? Like the Kowa has this fine focusing knob, and no one else does it like Kowa, I'll tell you that right now. The Vortex and the Hawke that have this same dual focus knob, it's sloppy. The fine focus takes forever to actually focus, and it's just not well made. This is money right here. This is what you want if you want to digiscope at long distances out to 1,500 yards and get good quality footage without a lot of shake. This works. This is still super smooth as well. There's just a little bit more shake, and I just prefer the overall body and the slender build of the Swaro, and I also prefer the Swaro pop. Their glass pops a little bit more than the Kowa. The Kowa is more neutral, but definitely very good glass and more natural. These don't compare to any of these. So I've seen reviews where people try to compare these to something like a Vortex. There's no comparison. These are alpha glass, high quality. These are for truly passionate people. And I'm truly passionate, so these are my favorite spotting scopes right here, and I will drop the extra $1,500 to buy one of these over these, honestly, in my opinion. That's just me. But I understand not everyone is like me, and so I want to talk about all these as well. As far as magnification goes, these are 17 to 40 power, the Kowa and the Swaro. And I would say all the way through the image, so that means zooming from 17 to 40, the image is clear, crisp. Kowa has the best edge-to-edge clarity overall, but like I said, it's splitting hairs. And in some situations, I like the glass quality better because it's just a more neutral pop, where the Swaro is a tad bit warmer, but it really makes those animals pop, especially like in the springtime when that grass is really green and you spot like a red mule deer or a red elk and they're just, boom, they just pop, right? So I love that about the Swaro glass, but like I said, Kowa's right up there. And Kowa has a little bit of degradation when you get up to that 40 power, but it's honestly not noticeable unless you're comparing them side by side. And that's the Swaro and the Kowa when I say them. Otherwise, everything else kind of degrades as you move up in magnification. If you watch my review where I reviewed this scope, I also had the angled version with it, and they're both the same as far as the coloring. I think it's just the coatings they use. The glass and the coatings on this one just make the image kind of a purplish red color. And for that reason, it just really bugged me. But this one has better edge clarity than this one. That's why I'm kind of trying to weigh out the pros and cons and try to be fair to Vortex, because honestly, Vortex does make a good product. I've just never owned one that I haven't had to send in for some reason. And that's okay. They're a huge company. They have huge product volume compared to Maven. So it's expected probably that you're going to have more issues with this because they're cranking them out because they're selling them everywhere, right? So they will fix it. Their warranty is really good. I mean, I could literally throw this over there at the rocks right now and send it in and they would fix it for me. Maven has the same warranty, lifetime unconditional, but they're not going to cover it if you just, smash it with a hammer. Vortex will. That's the crazy thing, right? But there's a cost penalty to that type of warranty, right? They're not just your buddy and saying, hey, bro, just whatever, just go smash it, go run it over, we'll take care of you. No, you're paying for that. And so you're paying extra for that warranty, and you're losing out on things like glass quality and overall build quality. Like this optic is super stiff when you twist it back and forth. And the eye cup's sloppy. When I put a digiscoping device on this just twists out, right? So things like that you got to take into consideration. I do like the added Arca plate that Vortex offers for all their compact lines, and they might even do it on their larger spotting scopes. Honestly, I'm a compact guy, so that's kind of all I really look at. These are more like, I'm gonna go hike into somewhere, I'm gonna throw this in a pack. That's what these things are meant for. 1500 yards and in, these are gonna be great. But this is a 13 to 39 magnification, and it's a 56 millimeter objective lens. As you start to crank it up and you get into that higher magnification, you do lose image quality with this scope too. So keep that in mind. It's not like the Swaro or the Kowa. You do lose image quality, but obviously this is a lot more expensive than this, right? This is $26.99. This is $24.99. This is $9.99. So you can't expect this to perform like those. So you just got to be realistic when you're looking at this stuff. The Maven, I don't know, I just mentioned the Maven a little bit, but overall build quality, this is why I kind of put this one initially above everything, because I was super impressed with the build quality. Like the overall magnification wheel is super smooth. It's not too stiff. It's not too loose. It just feels nice. It's metal. The build quality feels really nice, and it's fluorite crystal glass. So you're getting a really nice optic for $1,050, right? It also has abaconic prisms, so it's better at letting in light. The limiting factor to this one is it's 12 to 27 magnification. And some guys might be like, whoa, that's not enough. But like I said earlier, magnification isn't everything. This scope is honestly one of my favorite scopes. And if I was on more of a budget, and technically I should be because I've spent way too much money on this stuff, I'm going to have to sell most of this because I can't afford to keep it. YouTube doesn't pay well, but I love doing this kind of stuff, right? Anyways, the Maven S.2 12 to 27 by 56, I would say is good out to 1,250 yards. And I have a more in-depth review on all these, or I'm making some still, but as far as the Maven, the Kowa, the Swaro, and the Razor HD, I have individual reviews out right now. So if you want more detail, definitely check those out. But overall, this is a really nice optic for the price point, and I think it's one of the better optics in this cheaper class over here. The next one on my list here is the Vortex Viper HD, which, why isn't it not the Razor? This is the old Razor, right? That's where they screwed up here, honestly. I think they should have remade this scope as the Razor, and I would have been super happy. This is my first scope, and I love this little scope right here. It was an awesome scope for its time. It was the first compact spotter out that I knew about. They improved on this spotting scope with this one. And I even compared the glass on these two. The glass on this is actually pretty good for $599, right? So for $600, you're getting a really good scope, which I think optically is pretty much the same as this. There's a little bit of degradation and light gathering capabilities because you have a 50 millimeter objective. When I opened this box, it had a little certificate saying that it was individually inspected, which I thought was pretty cool. It has that fine focus wheel, and honestly, it's all right. It's $600. I don't expect much from it. It's just kind of sloppy. When you actually go to use that fine focus, I tend to use this more because this just takes forever. You're just sitting there twisting it and twisting it. So that's one thing to keep in mind about this one, is if you're trying to go cheap and you want Kowa features, you're going to get it, but it's a lot cheaper to the touch, feel, and overall build. But I love how they added rubber armor to this. And like I said, you have a 50 millimeter objective and 11 to 33 magnification. Moving on to the Hawke. This literally looks like it was made in the same factory as this. And honestly, it probably was. The cool added feature to the Hawke is they have a sunshade. They don't have an Arca plate, which I love that Vortex did that. That is super awesome because I use Arca with everything. But this is the same. It's super sloppy, and you just have to keep twisting and twisting to use that fine focus. So I find myself just using this anyway, right? And then this also broke on me. This is the only scope that actually broke on me. And I would say I started using this one 8 months ago, hardcore. Like stuff it in my pack, hiking with it, bringing 4 different scopes, 4 different tripods, hiking up ridges, chasing winter range deer and elk. That's what I was doing. And then also summer range, obviously, but I spent a lot of time during winter range, like every week, like 2 or 3 days a week, I was hiking up ridges, filming, looking through these scopes, getting an idea of what I liked and what I didn't like about them. and this one broke. So I'm gonna send it in. They have a lifetime warranty. I haven't been able to get a hold of them. I sent them an email. So that's not very impressive to me, right? Like, I love all these other companies because they have really great customer service. So not only do they have, you know, either really great glass and great customer service, or, you know, good glass for the price and great customer service, but customer service is just really important to me. And so far, Hawke hasn't been there to answer their phone or respond to my email. So I'm going to try again. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, right? I know everyone's busy. No one's trying to make bad products. Everyone has the intention of making good products. I'm not here to smash on anybody. But this did break. So I literally have to hold this, and then I can use the magnification wheel. And then the overall image quality of this too, just, I don't know if the coatings that they use are different from the Vortex, but this one just was very unimpressive. I wasn't very impressed on this. This Hawke, I actually forgot to mention that when I was rambling, but this is a 13 to 39 by 50. You're getting some light degradation, not having a 56mm objective. This one, I don't know if they sell this one still, but this is the Razor HD compact spotting scope. And this is a awesome little spotting scope. This, you know, was around, I think it was like $8.99 for a while. I'll actually have to double check the price. I don't know the price offhand on this one, but I just threw this in here because I've owned it for so long. And it doesn't have a twist up eye cup. It's got one of these rubber eye cups, which I do not like, but it's just an example of one of the upgrades of the Viper, right? So the Viper has some cool added features that this one doesn't have. The glass quality isn't as good. I definitely compared it to the Viper, and it now is unimpressive to me when I look at these. So, but it was a cool scope for its day. It's really lightweight, it's compact, and it's an 11 to 33 by 50 as well. The next one on the list just came out. This one cost around $200, $199.99. The build quality is actually really nice for the price point. For a $200 scope, if you just want to get a better look at something, you don't care about image quality, you don't care about low light performance, maybe you want to have this as a range scope or something you have in your truck, I think this is a great option for $200. You don't get a sunshade. The focus wheel is actually really smooth. It's better than this one. And then the magnification wheel too is actually really smooth. Like, it's actually feels better than these more expensive scopes. Where this one falls short is with image quality. And then I'm not going to spend too much time on these. These don't really compete optically. Where they really shine is in their size. I actually didn't want to throw this one in there. The glass quality is actually really good. I actually used some charts to kind of look at the overall like vignetting and color fringing and things like that. And this glass actually did really good. But this is a 10 to 20 by 40. So it's got really low light gathering capabilities. Where this one shines though is in its size. It is so compact, right? It's tiny. And you get 20 magnification out of this. It's great for midday glassing, honestly. The next one up would be this little Kowa TSN 501. I'm just gonna skim through this one real quick. It's a 20 to 40 magnification range, and you got that fine focus. And we'll talk about this one a little bit later. But this one isn't too impressive, but once again, it's compact and lightweight. Next one up is the Hawke Nature Trek. This one is another 9 to 27 by 56, right? This one's kind of meant for birders. And this is an awesome little compact scope if you just want something compact. This one I actually like. This scope I was not impressed with. For the price point and the size and the magnification range, which is 9 to 27 by 56, it has a great exit pupil. The image quality isn't that great, but you're not really expecting image quality when you're buying something like this. You're just going for something compact. You can honestly handhold this scope really well. I got a big Arca plate, so I can handhold it, adjust the magnification, all that stuff. That's awesome. And then lastly here, I got this little Celestron. This is the Hummingbird 56. I couldn't remember the name, but this is the Hummingbird 56mm objective, and it's a 9 to 27 as well. This is an impressive little scope for its size. It's lighter than the Hawke, so that would be the benefit of this one. Glass quality is relatively the same, but it is a 9 to 27. The next thing I want to go over is the objective lens. So on these two, you have a 56 and a 55mm objective. The light gathering capabilities is negligible. This one does a little bit better, but in some situations, this one actually did better. So I think it just depends on the overall weather conditions and the lighting capabilities of the day, right? So if the lighting is different, these are going to perform differently, and sometimes they're going to outperform each other, but neck and neck, these are top of the line. This is cool. This is the 12 to 27, like I said. It's got a 56 millimeter, so you're getting a really wide exit pupil with this one. This one is a 50 millimeter objective, so you're losing a little bit of that light gathering capability, but it's pretty light, so that's nice. This one is also a 56. It's a 13 by 56, so it does really good with light gathering too for the price point. This one has a 50 millimeter objective. Like I said, it's probably my least favorite out of all of these. I don't recommend that one at all. This one's a 50 millimeter objective, and this one's a 50. And then this is a 40 millimeter objective. This is actually the smallest out of the bunch. The objective size on the Kowa is going to be 50. I thought it was 50, I just couldn't remember. And then these two are 56. So honestly, for the little small form factor and the 9 to 27 zoom range, the image quality isn't great, but man, these are compact, super small, these easy in a pack. I wouldn't recommend these for digiscoping. You're not going to get the best images, but if you're on a budget, I mean, and you want something compact, they're awesome little scopes. As far as close focusing distance, the Hawke Endurance wins the cake on that. You got 8.2 feet. This is one of the things I didn't really remember. With the Maven S.2, you also have 8.2 feet. So this one's pretty good at close range. And then next up, you have the Vortex Viper. This one is 9 feet. And then the Kowa TSN 55S, this one is 9.2 feet. The Razor HD is 9.2 feet. Swarovski actually has 11.2 feet for their close focusing distance. And basically that is just, you know, how close you can get to something and still focus in. So that's really going to matter for like birders or people that are like looking at plants or insects. That's where that's going to kind of play in as far as your close focusing distance. Moving on, I think the Vortex Crossfire HD, I have that one at 13.9 feet. And for some reason, I actually didn't look into this one just because it's kind of discontinued, or they might still sell it, I don't know. But I can just put that up here. I'll just put the close focusing distance for the Razor HD 11 to 33 by 50. And then as far as the micro spotters go, you have a close focusing distance of 5.2 with this little guy. This one's going to be your little birding machine right here, but it's only got a 40 millimeter objective lens. And then on the Kowa 501, you have a close focusing distance of 8.2 feet. The Hummingbird over here, you have a close focusing distance of 9.8 feet. And then on the Hawke over here, you have 8.2 feet. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about exit pupil. This is one of the more important topics, not for everybody, but for me it is, because this is going to be your overall brightness. The larger your exit pupil, the more light gathering capability you have. And when that light starts to fade, your eye pupils dilate and you start to get larger pupils. During the day, exit pupil really doesn't matter because your pupils actually shrink down. And so, you know, most people's pupils are probably at 2 or 2.5. And so having a 2 millimeter exit pupil isn't really going to matter during the day. The winner from all these little compact ones is the Maven S.2. It has an exit pupil of 4.7 at the low end at 17 power, and then 2.1 at the high end. So you're almost getting a 65 millimeter objective lens as far as exit pupil goes because of the magnification, right? Because exit pupil is calculated by taking the objective lens and dividing it by the magnification range, right? So you can calculate all this out yourself if you want. The next one up is the Vortex Viper. You have a 50 millimeter objective, 11 to 33, but you have a 4.6 millimeter exit pupil at the low end of 11 power, and then at 33 you have a 1.5 millimeter exit pupil. So that's where you really see that degradation. If you're glassing at low light, you're going to want to zoom this thing out because your image is going to be super dark, and you're also going to lose some edge clarity as well. The next one up would be the Vortex Razor HD. It's got a 4.3 to 1.4 millimeter exit pupil. I was actually pretty impressed with the overall light gathering capability of this one. So although I didn't like the overall color of this one, the light gathering capability and the edge clarity is actually good on this one. Next up, I have the Vortex Crossfire. this is a 12 to 36, right? So on the low end at 12 power, you have a 4.2 millimeter exit pupil. And then on the high end, when you're zoomed all the way up to 36, you have a 1.4 millimeter exit pupil. The Hawke Endurance I have at 3.8 millimeters at the low end, so 13 power. And then at 39 power, I have it at 1.3. So like I said, this one was really unimpressive. The next one up is going to be the Vortex Razor HD, the older model. So this one is going to be the same as the Viper. You're going to have a 4.6 millimeter exit pupil at 11 power, and then at 33 power, that's where you really lose light gathering capabilities because it's only 50 millimeters, right? So you're getting 1.5. That's where the Maven really shines, because it has that 56 millimeter objective. Okay, moving on to the micro spotters. The exit pupil winners for the micro spotting scopes are the Hummingbird and the Nature Trek. Both spotting scopes come in at 6.2 millimeters at 9 power, and then at 27 power, they're at 2.1 millimeters. So both have a very large exit pupil, and they also do very well in low light situations. At the low end of the spectrum, you have the Gold Ring, which actually does pretty good for a 40 millimeter objective lens, but it's 3.8 millimeters at 10 power, and then at 20 you have a 1.3 millimeter exit pupil. Because this is a 20 to 40, this one is just light though, it's crazy light. So this one is a 2.5 millimeter exit pupil at 20 power, and then at 40 it's 1.25. So this is going to be one that you only want to use during the day. Obviously, best in class field of view are these two right here. The Kowa is the best in class, only by like 5 feet on the low end and 3 feet on the high end, but it still has a little bit more field of view than the Swaro. So the Kowa at 17 power is 192 feet at 1,000 yards, and it's 105 feet at 1,000 yards at 40 power. The Swaro is 186 feet at 1,000 yards and 102 feet at 1,000 yards at 40 power. And then 17 would be the 186 feet. The Vortex Viper, we have 182 feet at 1,000 yards and 95 feet at 33 power at 1,000 yards. Next up would be the Maven. So the Maven actually has a field of view of 173 feet at 1,000 yards at 12 power, and then when you zoom up to 27, you have 110 feet at 1,000 yards. At that higher end magnification, this one's actually better than both of these over here. So that's just cool that, I mean, this one is 1,050. You get an extra 5 feet field of view with this one at 27 power, and it's got a really bright image. Like I said, it's got an exit pupil of 2.1 millimeters, so it does better than these ones in low light. But it doesn't have as great of edge clarity, so that's just something you want to take into consideration. And then, let's see, moving down the list, the next one would be the Razor. You got 168 feet at 1,000 yards at 13 power, and then 89 feet at 39 power. So you really lose field of view with this one when you get up into that higher end at 39 power. And you'll notice it on the edges too, because not as much light is coming in, so you're going to get more edge fringing. It's going to be darker along the edges. The next one up would be the Vortex Crossfire. This one's 173 feet at 1,000 yards and 89 feet at 33 power at 1,000 yards. The worst of the bunch is obviously this one. This is the Hawke Endurance. This is 171 feet, so you're splitting hairs there really, but 171 feet at 13 power at 1,000 yards, and then 90 feet at 1,000 yards at 39 power. And then once again, I didn't look up the Vortex Razor HD 11 to 33's specs, but I'll put that right up here. And then moving on to the micro spotters, at number 1 is the Hummingbird. We got 265 feet at 1,000 yards at 9 power, and then zoomed up to 27, you got 116 feet. So that one does really well as far as field of view. The next one up is the Nature Trek. This is by Hawke. This is their better scope in my opinion. And it's 234 feet at 1,000 yards and 108 feet at 27 power at 1,000 yards. And then you have the Gold Ring coming in third. So at 10 power with this scope, you have 171 feet at 1,000 yards. And then when you zoom up to 20, you got 90 feet field of view at 1,000 yards. And then last on the list is this Kowa. You have 131 feet at 1,000 yards, zoomed up at 20 power, or just that's basically at its lowest setting. And then at 40 power, you have 92 feet. Out of these spotting scopes right here, these compact spotters, the best in class for price point is this Crossfire that just came out. It's $199. MSRP is $299 on Vortex's website. Everywhere you see it, it's $199. The next one up would be the Hawke Endurance. This is $479. I would not recommend this one just because of the overall build quality. Next up would be the Vortex Viper. This one has an MSRP of $599.99, and I've found it anywhere from $499 to $599. That one does pretty good on price. Next up would be the Vortex Razor HD, which MSRP's at $1,000, $999. Honestly, I think this one should be cheaper. I think they rushed this scope, in my opinion, after trying two of them. Both of them just, I don't know. I don't like the overall build quality. It's got some nice features, but like I said, this is super stiff. This is super stiff. The eye cup, literally, if you put a all-in system or a phone scope, you put it on and it just twists out. It's not very stiff at all. It's not well made. So I think that one's overpriced. This one ranges from $699.99 all the way up to $750. Next up in that price range is the Maven S.2. This one I think is well worth the price. It's $1,050. The only complaint would be that edge clarity and the fact that some of the image quality is a little bit warmer when you get into different situations. So this is like, I would say, a cooler image quality, the Razor. It's like a purpley color. This is more of like a yellow when you get into some lighting situations. So that would be the difference. Is this is more of a warm color. With the Kowa, they actually raised the price recently. So it was $2,200. Now it's $2,499. And then the Swaro, they actually dropped their price for a little bit, but they've raised it back up. It's now $26.99 for the Swaro. So these are the two most expensive. If you're on a budget, obviously these aren't going to be what you're considering at all. But if you want the best of the best, you're going to pay for it. And then as far as micro spotters go, the best in class over here is the Hummingbird at $229. The TSN 501, I don't even think they produce this anymore. We're trying to phase this one out, but you can find it online from $279 to $349. And then you have the Nature Trek by Hawke. This one is $299. And then lastly, over here would be the Leupold, right? This is the most expensive one. So I put it last on the list and it's $599, around $600. The glass quality is really good on this one, but it's just such a odd magnification range, but man, it is compact. So the next thing I want to talk about is eye relief. The Kowa has 17 millimeters of eye relief. The Vortex Razor has 17.8 or 18. The Crossfire has 18. The Vortex Viper has 19. So Viper over here, 19 millimeters of eye relief. And then the Swarovski STC has 20 millimeters. And then the Maven was 20.2. And then the Endurance was 20. Eye relief on the Hummingbird is 15 millimeters. That one actually has really good eye relief. The Nature Trek has 18 millimeters. The Leupold has 18, but once again, you have that rubber eyepiece, which I don't like. The TSN 501 has 14 millimeters. So this one has the worst eye relief. And then some of these other ones, you'll see that the glass is set further back. So that does affect your eye relief as well. Look at the Swaro even, you can see how far that glass is back in there. So it all comes down to personal preference with eye relief, honestly. So the next thing up that we're going to talk about is focusing. And so with these optics here, you have two types of focusing. You have the barrel type focus like you have on the Swaro, and then you have the fine focus knob. So the dual focusing feature of the Kowa, which some of these other scopes have. Actually, I would say it's like half and half or just a little below half and half. The only one out of these dual focusing scopes that actually does a good job at fine focusing on something is this Kowa right here. This is top of the line. It just works really well. It's very smooth. And this is my favorite digiscoping device, honestly. I mean, I could be out at 1,500 yards glassing and you barely see any shake when you're using this. All these other scopes that have this fine focus, like these Razors, these are junk. I want to say they're totally junk. They're very sloppy. And so you have to twist these a lot to utilize that fine focus knob. I tend to use the main focus more on these because these are just so sloppy at the end. Keep that in mind if you're going to go cheap. Don't expect much out of these dual focusing knobs for the Hawke or any of the Vortexes. The Kowa 501, even though it doesn't have great glass quality and it's a compact spotter, like I said, these compacts aren't really in this class, but I did want to mention them because they are so compact. They're micro spotters, but Kowa did a good job with this one. I think it's not as good as this, but it's definitely better than these. So maybe that price point you're paying is basically just paying for this because yeah, this one works good. And then as far as the barrel focusing side, the Swarovski is just super smooth and buttery smooth, right? It's just awesome. Maven is really good, very smooth. It doesn't have as much spin or adjustment as the Swarovski. Swarovski has 2 full rotations. This one maybe has 1. You max out really fast, right? So see that? Boom, boom. So that's a downside. And then this one just super stiff. Definitely the most shaky out of the bunch, and some people might like that, but when you're digiscoping, I find this to be really annoying. This is actually very nicely built. It's actually relatively smooth for $200. I'm impressed with this little scope for $200. I think for the price point, everything works on it really good. Build quality feels solid, and you're getting an Arca rail on it too, but you still have the 1/4 inch main thread. The same with this one on the Leupold. This one's interesting. The focus knob is here, and it's pretty smooth. These 2 barrel focuses are stiff, but for the price point, you're talking $299, right? And $279. These are awesome little scopes for the price point. Next up is size. So as far as these compact ones go, the smallest out of them is the Vortex Crossfire. You have 10.2 inches with this angled spotting scope. I think it's like probably 11 with the straight. And then the Endurance is 10.6. So that comes in second as far as form factor goes. And then 10.8 for the Kowa TSN 55S. And obviously that form factor will get smaller if you have the angled. And then the Swaro is 11.2. So that's actually last on the list. I mean, we're splitting hairs there, right? But still 11.2 versus 11. So the Vortex Viper is 11. The Maven S.2 is 11. And then the Vortex Razor is 11.1. So that is kind of the overall size and form factor of these. The best form factor for me is the straight spotting scopes. I actually prefer straight spotting scopes because when I have them mounted on a tripod, you have a straight on line of sight, right? They're the easiest to acquire your target. So if I'm glassing with binoculars, I take off my binoculars, throw this on the tripod, and I'm already lined up. And then as far as the micro spotters go, so you have the gold ring at 7.5 inches. So I guess I was saying 5.5, but 7.5 for this one. It's super compact, super lightweight. It's got a carbon fiber body. Most of these other ones are magnesium, plastic. Then you have the Nature Trek with 7.6 and then 8.2 for the overall length. And then the TSN 501 is the lightest, but it's also the longest. It's 9.5 inches. Let's go ahead and go over the weight differences, right? So first up on the list, the best in weight as far as weight class would be the Vortex Viper. It's 27.4 ounces, so just over 1.5 pounds, right? And then you have the Vortex Razor HD, which is 28.6. And then next up you have the Endurance. This one's 29.3 ounces. And then you have the Vortex Crossfire at 30.3. So you're gaining weight, but you're saving money with this one.
The Kowa is 34.14 ounces.
So just over 2 pounds. The Maven S.2 is actually pretty heavy. It's one of the heaviest of the bunch. It's 34.4 ounces.
You have the Swarovski at 35.6 ounces.
These 3 are the heaviest, but they're also best in class as far as build quality, the overall image quality, and then also their focusing ability is the best out of all of these. On the 501, you got 14.1 ounces. This thing feels like a feather. The gold ring is 15.6 ounces. And then the Nature Trek is 20.3. And then the Hummingbird is 20.8. So with these ones, you're getting a very compact scope with a really good overall weight. So that's the benefit of these micro spotting scopes if you're backpacking. And then as far as warranty, obviously Vortex has the best warranty out of all of these. You can literally run them over, you can toss them off a bridge, go collect it, you can throw it out of your plane. You can do anything to these, send them in, they're gonna fix it. Next up I have Swaro. So Swaro has a 10-year limited lifetime warranty, or they advertise a 10-year warranty, and then you get an extra year if you register your scope. And you can always unregister it too if you wanna sell it and someone else can register it. So registering it doesn't ruin the warranty. But in my experience, they're top notch as far as their warranty goes. Kowa has a limited lifetime warranty, but from my experience, which is only research really, but from what I've read, they'll take care of you. Hawke says they have a no-fault lifetime warranty or a 2-year warranty, which is very confusing. Like I said, their customer service was hard to get a hold of. I still haven't got a hold of them. Hopefully I can get this fixed, but this one did break on me. Maven has a lifetime unconditional warranty, but they're not going to cover you if you throw it off a bridge or run it over. They're going to take care of you. Their customer service has been great. I've worked with them quite a bit, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about them. They're also smaller though, so I got to say that too. Vortex is a huge company. They produce huge volume. Maven's direct to consumer. They have more time to put into their product because they're not selling as much volume, and they're not having to sell to all these major stores like Cabela's and Sportsman's Warehouse and Shields. They're able to produce a better product because of that, in my opinion. And then Leupold, obviously lifetime unconditional. Leupold's great. So if you were going to go with the Leupold scope, you know, I would recommend them for their warranty. They'll take care of you. And then lastly, the Celestron has a lifetime warranty as well. Haven't had to use it, couldn't tell you. Okay, I'm losing my voice. We're getting towards the end here. I hope this isn't an hour-long video, but if it is, whatever, we'll just roll with it. So resale value. This is very important to me because I'm funding my own stuff most of the time. Companies are helping me out with some stuff like price and things like that, but I'm still spending a lot of money, especially when I'm buying a Swaro. Luckily, Kowa helped me out and sent me this to try out, and so I'm very appreciative of that because I was going to be $2,500 that I have to cough up. But all these other ones, I did cough up the money. And so I have a lot of money in spotting scopes right here. Number one, resale value is Swarovski. Their name, their branding, they're the best of the best. You try to put one of those on Facebook Marketplace or eBay. They sell really fast. They hold their value. This one actually went up in price, so I'll probably at least make my money back on this. That's awesome. Kowa, their resale value is good. They take longer to sell, I think, because they're a newer company or newer on the market as far as a high-end spotting scope. They have a lot of nice features to them, and they are starting to sell well. Next up would be Vortex, and actually Vortex would be before Kowa because of their marketing and branding. Everyone knows about them, and they know that even if it's broken, they buy it broke, they can send it in, they'll get it fixed. So these have a really good resale value. They don't hold their value the same as Swaro, but they'll sell fast. And then Maven, I put them next on the list. I actually put them right below Kowa, and not because of the quality of the product, just because they're a newer company, and I think they just take longer to sell, but they still hold their value pretty well. I actually was looking on eBay and Facebook Marketplace, and this scope in particular was selling for like $900, $950 open box. I'm not sure how long this one's going to take to sell. I don't know if I'll keep this one because I think the only one I'm going to keep is my Swaro. And then Leupold, great resale value, awesome little scope. You'll have no problem selling this one either. The Celestron and obviously the Hawke over here too, same thing. Resale value, because of the price point, I see the resale value being pretty good. They'll probably sell really quick. I'll just probably have to drop the price on them. Overall durability and build quality. So the best durability and overall build quality is going to be these three. These two are the best. This one's in the middle. I would say that these are best in class for build quality. Super smooth focusing and magnification wheels. You got rubber armor on the body of this one. These are metal. You got rubber armor at least right here. This is magnesium, and then you got rubber armor right here. So this, if you drop it, you're going to ding it up, but you know, it's meant to be out in the field, so you shouldn't really be worrying about that. And then this is overall just excellent as far as build quality, super smooth. It's got the rubber armor, and then all these other ones are kind of out on their own together. I would say that the Vortex Viper and the Crossfire actually have better build quality than the Razor. They're a lot more smooth. They got rubber armor. They got the Arca. This one is heavier because it's cheaper, and the overall glass quality is probably not as good and just cheaper components, so it's heavier. The Hawke has horrible build quality. Look at that. It's broken. It's not even working. It just keeps spinning. That one is bottom on the list. The Razor is pretty good. It's got a aluminum or magnesium body, and it's got rubber armor right here, but then the eyepiece is really chintzy. As far as overall build quality over here, Leupold's the best. I would put these two in second and the Kowa last. This does have an exposed housing It's just really light. That's build quality. I'm just running through that because obviously if you want a more in-depth review on any of these, go check out those reviews. I'm going to be doing individual reviews on these, and I've already done one on each of these, so go check those out. All these scopes have 1/4 inch by 20 UNC threads, so you can use pretty much any tripod adapter, so you can mount it on pretty much any tripod. One cool thing though that Vortex has over all these is they actually included ARCA. I think that's a standout feature of the Vortex. The rest of them you're going to have to buy a plate, or if you buy a tripod it's going to come with an ARCA plate. Or if you don't like ARCA, then you can use whatever on them, right? Because they have those standard threads. That's pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about with this review. So I kind of covered all the basics, and I just wanted to let you know which ones I like the most, which as far as the ones I like the most are the Kowa and the Swaro, with Maven coming in second. And then I would say the Vortex Viper in third. I'll put the Razor out of sympathy in fourth, fifth for the Crossfire. And then I would say that this one actually is right in there, probably in third, but I don't like the eyepiece on this one. It's very cheap. And then this one is last as far as the compact spotters because it broke on me, right? And their customer service hasn't responded to me. And then as far as the micros, I would say I like the Hawke and the Celestron the best. This has the best glass quality, but it's the magnification is not as functional. And then the Kowa's last. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you watched it all the way through, kudos to you. I actually don't expect many people to watch this all the way through. They're probably just going to skip through to the sections they want to see. But if you did watch it all the way through, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Definitely, I would appreciate it if you just like and subscribe. Look at that little tab right there. And then honestly, if you have any comments or feedback, or you want to let me know about any other scopes that I missed, definitely leave some comments below. I'd appreciate that. I'd love to hear your comments and feedback. And then honestly, just remember to stay connected to the wild. Nature is good for you. You got to get out there. That's why I love spotting scopes. You get closer with nature, right? And yeah, once again, my name is Chris with Ignited by Nature. And until next time, guys and gals.